Good afternoon, friends, or should I say, buenos tardes. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday. I assume you're tapping in right when we post this. Guys, we are talking about the big hot drama this week, and that is corporate fumbles, corporate fumbles and AI more specifically. If you're not familiar, Duolingo is going through some big backlash. People are fine with AI in certain contexts. You want to be an AI doctor? Do you want to finger my butt with a robot finger to see if I have cancer? Fine. You want to be my robotic drive-through attendant at Jack in the Box? Okay, I can live with that. You want to be AI Jesus and have me confess from the comfort of my living room to an AI Jesus for a AI-based priest confession app? That's fine. But don't you dare go AI first at my favorite green bird company. The Duolingo bird better be ran by a corporation that is purely human labor. Okay, this is a company that is based on linguistics, people talking. It's human interaction. Language is driven by people. I don't want some dusty clanker back there motivating all the engine that's behind my app. Okay? I really like the idea of AI coming for us, and the one place where it would be the most unnoticeable is probably an app. And I'm going to go through their little corporate statement because this is definitely a sign of the times. Every company is going to go through some version of this. My studio is going to go through a version of this. Everyone working here has no clue. I'm going to replace them with an AI robot. Because nothing as a business owner gets me more excited than condensing all 500 of my employees into one computer. And I just want to be friends with the computer. Guys, I JK. I would never replace the team here. There is no robot that could do what my studio crew does. Plus, as a business owner, it's not fun yelling at a computer. When you yell as a business owner, you want to know that it's hurting someone's feelings. I'm making myself sound like a tyrant here. And that's because I am. I'm going mask off. Nah, JK, if you're not caught on right now, guys, this is the company lot. This is the hour-long version, basically, of my videos here. Less edited, more raw, unfiltered. You like that? Raw and unfiltered. No cheeky edits here. No cheeky edits to hide my stream of consciousness. This is, if you took the raw footage from any other video, this is what it is. Okay? Plenty of people listen on audio. I just found this out the other day, so shout out to you guys. You can always get this show, by the way, ad-free at tmgstudios.tv/company lot. But for now, we're going to turn on the lights, and we're going to get to it. I'm very excited to talk about today's subjects because, boy, do I have a lot to say. I never know how long it takes for the lights to come on. It's just something that happens. Look, let's start by reading the statement from Duolingo's LinkedIn. They posted a in-house memo. So this was a all-hands email. And if you work in the corporate world, or if you haven't, this is actually more for those who haven't. Corporations like to do this thing where we're having an all-hands meeting, right? And I like that in a way. Get your pesky little fingers off the keyboard. Take your dainty little pointers off of whatever you're doing and bring those hands into our giant meeting space where me, the CEO, is going to give you some bad news. So the CEO, Louis Von Ahn, and you already got to be skeptical of the guy with a 3-letter last name. It's just, you don't know where this dude's from. It's an abbreviate. He's clearly hiding something. Anyways, he goes on to say, I've said this. Oh, by the way, some of you have commented that I'm always taking deep breaths. It is the chair. This SpongeBob chair, which we've all affectionately come to name it. If you're listening on audio, I'm sitting in a SpongeBob chair. And that's not an exaggeration. It literally looks like a transition scene from SpongeBob. Me and Alina were calling this chair. Alina's the mother of my child, by the way. This chair, the SpongeBob chair, and I like that you all have just naturally joined us there. So I feel like that makes us close. It makes me feel like we think the same. But there goes that deep breath again. It is impossible to sit in this chair because the back of this chair is stabbing my upper lungs. It's so hard to breathe in this chair. I should maybe get a pillow one day. But until then, you'll just have to listen to me sound like I'm on an iron lung. Let's read this statement. I've said this in Q&As and many meetings. Sorry. My Ozempic is making my nose stuffy. But I want to make it official. Duolingo is going to be AI first. AI is already changing how work gets done. It's not a question of if or when. It's happening now. When there's a shift this big, the worst thing you can do is wait. This first sentence reads like personal cope. You know, this is one of those classic capitalist things where, well, you got to go with the flow. You know, you hear this, right? Someone will line up and trample others to get an Xbox, if we're thinking in Black Friday terms. Someone will trample someone to get the Xbox, so we may as well trample someone. So I understand a Duolingo's logic here. You know, they don't want to get left in the dust. But typically, when you're going to do something that impacts a lot of people, typically as a corporation, you just kind of do that on the low. I think corporations probably hate the internet because they used to lay people off and no one would really find out. Maybe just the town. You can go to towns. That's the one thing I've learned from stand-up comedy is you can go to towns and you go, what used to be here? And they're like, oh, there was a massive thriving industry here 40 years ago. And they laid everyone off and then they all got hooked on crack and then fentanyl. And now everyone's dying. But we have the best wings in the United States. I'm talking about Detroit. Sorry, that's not funny. That's not funny. But we can keep it in. Anyways, raw and unfiltered, folks. Raw and unfiltered. This is what you get. Also, speaking of stand-up comedy, I will be in Denver this weekend. This Saturday, I'm going to be at the Paramount Theater. It's a reschedule because I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Your boy went raw. I made love, and I received a child. That's what I got in exchange for having fun. I got a kid. More responsibility, which I love. So, this show is a reschedule. So if you're planning to see me last year, you can do that now. Anyways, back to Duolingo. They go on to say, while others were focused on mobile companion apps for websites, we decided to build mobile first because we saw it was the future. And they're referring to, this is kind of like a humble brag by them. They go, low key, bro is ahead of the curve. Low key, we're ahead of the curve. We're on some forward thinking type shit. That's what they're saying because they're calling out how in 2012 they basically made the decision to prioritize a mobile app versus making a mobile app that ran alongside their website. And that's what's kept them successful, which is interesting because I didn't even know Duolingo existed until 2 years ago. I didn't know it existed until influencers were doing ads for it. You remember that when all the Mormon girls were doing Duolingo ads? Buenas noches, putas. I'm going to Mexico this summer, so I'm learning basic Spanish through Duolingo. Perdón, yo quiero un bebé. And I'm not talking to my husband. He's given me 5 of those. Because they're Mormon? I jest. They go on to say AI isn't just a productivity boost. It helps us get closer to our mission. I have to tangent here as well. There was a great TikTok a while ago of a dude criticizing corporations for using military speak. He was criticizing like project managers going, you know, we want to be boots on the ground. And this is what I love here. This corporation has a big mission to teach everyone another language. because that's really important to them. To teach well, we need to create a massive amount of content, and doing that manually doesn't scale. It's going to be really great when Mr. Beast does this. It's starting with Duolingo, but rest assured, I've said forever, and I keep saying it because I want my cool points when it happens. When Mr. Beast builds an app that lets you virtually project him as your friend into your meta goggles, but also he lets you create your perfect Mr. Beast video as a feature within this application that you download. This is kind of the language he's going to be using. It's so long and labored to use real people and real cars to blow up. So we're going fully creative 3D VFX always, because that's just the best way to create individualized Mr. Beast videos so I can hang out with you virtually while we watch them. Duolingo, the statement goes on and to say again, one of the best decisions we made recently was replacing a slow manual content creation process with one powered AI. What a cute way of relabeling layoffs. Without AI, it would take us decades to scale our content to more learners. We owe it to our learners. Our learners. What is there a term for this? Like, there's like pink washing, green washing. What's the term for washing customers? Pay pigs. This is pay pig washing. Our learners, our devotees, I don't know what you would call it. We owe it to our learners to get them this content ASAP. What freak is sitting around on their Duolingo like, please God, I need another lesson? Can't you just like go to a place and that's the lesson? You just start talking to other people. And by the way, guys, I'm taking a big risk here by casting a stone at Duolingo because I will not be able to read ads for them after this. After I give my little goofs and gaffs, the big green bird won't be cutting me any checks. The big green bird will be sending me home with a mouthful of feathers. You bite the wing, you learn to walk alone. Anyways, so I'm working up to a line in here that I love, dude. AI also helps us build features like video call that were impossible to build before. For the first time ever, teaching as well as the best human tutors is within our reach. Brother, they want you to want to fuck your Duolingo teacher. Because every AI chat companion, I've talked about it at length. I won't kill us with it more, but it is very proven that it's possible to make people alone on their phone, not even in the privacy of their home, alone on their phone in public, be romantic with an AI. And you start putting gorgeous Latin people teaching you Spanish in the app. Hola. Me llamo Rodrigo. Oh my God. Oh my God. I promise you Duolingo is going to offer some under the table, sync this with your Rose toy. You know what they're going to do actually is they're going to build AI tutors and they're going to do a total offshoot. It's going to be like the fuck a fan challenge. They're gonna create AI teachers and then actualize them in person. They're gonna go meet Duolingo's Rodrigo this weekend at the LA Expo for the fuck a fan challenge. Nah, JK, they won't do that, but they will probably license out their teachers to other platforms so you can virtually make love to them. Because that's like the quickest way to get you hooked on an app. I do actually think that it is assuming they continue forward with this feature, hands down, no question, people will fall in love with their Duolingo teachers. There's going to be memes about it. That's going to be the first thing that you see. Why is my Duolingo teacher kind of... That's what it's going to be. Being AI first means we will rethink much of how we work. Making minor tweaks to systems designed for humans won't get us there. In many cases, we'll need to start from scratch. We're not going to rebuild everything overnight, and some things, like getting AI to understand our code base, will take time. However, we can't wait until the technology is 100% perfect. We'd rather move with urgency and take occasional small hits on quality than move slowly and miss the moment. Now, just out of curiosity, is Duolingo publicly traded? Duolingo is a publicly traded company. It completed its IPO, initial public offering, in 2021, fresh out of COVID. Wow. So yeah, this sounds like we want to make a shareholder happy. Because, I do like those memes. I live to improve shareholder value. I exist for shareholder value. It's a good chuck. All of this said, Duolingo will remain a company that cares deeply about its employees. All right, so there's two ways you can go about this, right? I understand people being upset, and I'm going to get to that in a second because people were very upset. But just before we dive into actual, written rage bait, printed rage in comment sections, I get that people are upset. Because this is it's the inevitable that we all saw coming from AI. I don't think it can be stopped. Absolutely not. You know what? I was reading my, favorite book, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. And in that book, Shoshana, I'm going to refer to the author by first name because we're bros. She mentions that at the time she released the book, which I believe was 2018, so maybe she wrote that even in 2017, AI was predicted to be valued as a $35 billion industry. And I'm curious, what is AI as an industry valued at? So the global AI market, okay, so as of 2024, AI had an estimated value of $280 billion. So let's divide 280 by 35. So it's 8 times the value, and it's projected to be a $1.8 trillion industry by 2030. Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, which is Gooder. All right, quick question. When was the last time you bought a pair of sunglasses that actually lasted more than a week? If you're like most people, they either vanish into thin air, get scratched to death, or end up under your car seat in pieces. But now you don't have to worry about all that with Gooder. Gooder are the makers of fun, functional sunglasses that don't break the bank. They start at just $25. They're 100% polarized, super lightweight, and built for anything. Running, hiking, pickleball, beach hangs, you name it. And thanks to their no-slip, no-bounce fit, they actually stay on your face. Style-wise, they've got something for everyone. We picked up a couple of favorites, including the Look Ma No Hands and Dante's Shin Splint Inferno. That is not a joke. That is actually what they're called on the website, and I love them. The best part, every pair comes with a 1-year warranty and a 30-day free return, so you have nothing to lose. If you need a new pair of sunnies, Gooder is giving Company Lot listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/lot and use code LOT for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's Gooder, GOODR.com/LOT. Use code LOT for free shipping. Hey everyone, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Raycon. Started that ad pretty loud because these are just so noise canceling. Guys, Father's Day is just around the corner, and dads, they teach us a lot, whether it's how to fix things, how to play pool, how to play Counter-Strike. That's the type of father I'm going to be. They also teach us how to not have a bad day. So this Father's Day, we can show dads that they deserve the world at a price even they will be impressed by. Treat a dad to a pair of everyday earbuds by Raycon because he deserves to relax and enjoy his favorite music in crystal clear sound. Raycon's everyday earbuds are the perfect gift for your dad, whether he's lifting at the gym, busy with work calls, or listening to his favorite tunes. You can give your dad the gift of premium audio wherever he goes. Raycon's latest model is better than ever with a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets him pair with two devices at once. And with Raycon's quick charge function, just 10 minutes of charging yields 90 minutes of battery. These earbuds also come with active noise cancellation, which is often difficult to find at such an accessible, dad-friendly price point. It's so rare to find that I stupidly took my earbuds out when I didn't have to at all. Raycon's start at just half the price of other premium audio brands. Raycon's everyday earbuds come in tons of vibrant colors to match your vibe, or if you're kind of just simple, you can either just go black or white, You know what I love about my Raycons, and this is probably something your dad will love because I'm also a dad, is that I can listen to all kinds of stuff, videos, podcasts, while I'm being a dad, which means cleaning up, throwing away poopy diapers. What else? Being a handyman, fixing things, you name it. I do it all with my Raycon headphones. And if your dad's not liking his Raycons, they offer a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy. No questions asked. Go to buyraycon.com/lot to get 15% off site-wide. Right now, Raycon is offering up to 15% off site-wide when you go to buyraycon.com/lot. buyraycon.com/lot. We hear more and more about AI in news, people being pissed off about Duolingo, all these new students using AI to think for themselves, asking AI basic questions about life. And keep in mind, even a year ago, people were trying to make AI companions as wearables, and it was the dumbest idea. And ChatGPT was looked at as kind of dumb, not great. And by the end of the year, it became very proficient. So now it's taking over as reliable for some work. And, people push back on AI and say it's not truly intelligent. It's only as smart as what we give it. The whole thing's a farce. I would say do not discredit, what it's capable of, because clearly it can do enough. There are things that AI will never be able to do, but there are things that it can do. And it calls into question, the whole future of honestly human interaction and how people interact with everything in their life. But that's kind of heavy and depressing, and that's not what this show's about. It's not. We're here to laugh at these things, because that's the best thing you can do. And I don't mean to undermine it. I guess I say that to say, obviously this stuff is serious, but you just got to laugh at it as you go through it, because as much as AI is taking jobs, it is really funny that people actually genuinely fell in love with the Duolingo bird. And they're like, I love the memes from this company. And now they find that the big green bird never had the best intentions. It always, up its sleeve, was a corporate little monster. So you get a lot of actually comments on their TikToks right now, Did AI teach you these moves? And they got the quirky replies back. Beep boops can't throw it like this. It's so wild that they blew up their brand from a bird shaking its ass. It's incredible. I'm just going to run this TikTok for the sake of. Yo, what? Hold up. Was Buddy warming up like that? Yeah, he really was. If you're listening on audio, it's your standard, what looks to be like corporate century, minimalist clothing, modern haircut, inoffensive body posture. Just, has the corporate language written all over him. I am here to serve the bird. And he's throwing it back, getting it ready. And then they put him in the big green. And yeah, and he's just giving it. Honestly, not that great of a throw, if I'm being honest. You know, I think a lot of us could throw it harder than them. Gosh, what a quirky little company Duolingo is. I'm just quietly enamored. Wow. Corporate slop. You love to see it. Delete Duolingo. AI shouldn't take people's jobs. Well, I got a bit of news for you, pal. It is. Deleted my app. What a terrible mistake to go AI. Unfortunately, it will probably benefit them. This is the unfortunate, but it might not. You know, maybe they try and it completely blows the company up. Lose your CEO and use AI to ease workloads, not replace. Cutting staff while saying we care deeply about employees in order to go AI first is certainly an interesting tactic. Not only is AI destroying our planet, that's another one we don't think about, the energy use, but it's being used to replace people's jobs. So sad to see Duolingo turn to using it. Now, I wonder if they received any kind of backlash for promoting or going web app first. You know, I wonder if people were just as upset then. Probably not, because it wasn't. It didn't affect people's lives. Okay. Now this is rich. Your friend deleted Duolingo because of the AI takeover, so you throw her a funeral for her 5-year streak. They got white women burning birds like sports fans burn jerseys. I don't know why I said white women. It was just a white woman in the TikTok. It's not only white women on Duolingo. That's not a fair characterization of their user base. I guess no one would be on Duolingo now. No, they got people burning birds like jerseys, man. I would love to see that. Just someone who's like, fuck Duolingo, and they put a parrot in the fire. I don't know why. I don't want to see animal abuse. I don't. That's crazy. No. Now you always got to go to Reddit in times like this, you know, because they're just so full of shit. Part of me wants to keep the slog of my streak going. I've only been doing the first kanji lesson. Of course, he's learning Japanese. Arigato. Duolingo. How do I say, where is the maid cafe? Part of me is wanting to just let the owl go. I'm not happy with the CEO and want to prove a point, but it's like a toxic relationship. I'm stuck. Ugh. Just pull the plug, Duo. Who talks like this, man? Just pull the plug, Duo. Your owl was dead before. Keep it that way. Man, people walk around talking like this? In the vein of AI taking over and falling in love with your AI teacher, it's worth mentioning this because this is also a great underscore on the gilded age we're living in of tech companies. Jamie Lee Curtis calls out Mark Zuckerberg over AI video dupe of her, which is wild, right? Jamie Lee Curtis goes, "Hi, we've never met. My name is Jamie Lee Curtis, and I've gone through every proper channel to ask you and your team to take down this totally AI fake commercial for something that I didn't authorize, agree to, or endorse. Now, this title is a bit sensationalized because what this is some fucking dork who runs a YouTube channel that's like, I'll show you how to make $50,000 in 30 days. You're going to sell this BS product, and we'll start by creating ads. Now, I've seen these tutorials where guys will be like, now I'm not saying you should do this, but I'm just going to show you how to do this as an example. And they might do something like, here we're going to take a clip of Joe Rogan and we're going to AI him talking about the product. So this is some dork probably using her likeness to either sell something or get clicks. That's what I would imagine. No, I don't know. Let's keep reading. In a follow-up to her public request, Curtis commented just 2 hours after the post went live that the video had been taken down. It worked. Yay, internet. Ugh. Isn't that a gross sentence? Yay, internet. Shame has its value. Thank all who chimed in and helped rectify. This does not fix anything. I'm sorry. This does not fix anything. Mark Zuckerberg. I almost called him Muckerberg. Muckerberg stealing something, brother? Let me tell you who doesn't have shame in the realm of theft. Mark didn't have to read your DM. He has AI doing that for you already. David Attenborough was recently profoundly disturbed by the use of an AI-generated dupe of his voice. Well, yeah, because you're talking about taking an old man's living wage. You know, hey, dude, I know you're on a fixed income and this is how you get paid, but guess what? They're doing you with a computer. Also related, I mentioned it earlier about the Google settlement or whatever lawsuit, because they're going through a big lawsuit with they're being labeled a monopoly in the browser space, which is irrelevant because they're probably just building an AI tool, and there's going to be no laws for that for 10 years, so it doesn't matter. But check this out. Google has to pay Texas, the state, $1.4 billion in a data privacy settlement, and $1.4 billion to Google is probably just one hair off of their ass. It's one single hair from their asshole, from their body of cash. So of their great big body of money, the $1.4 billion is a small hair on their hemorrhoid with a small dingleberry. And that's what they're giving to the state of Texas. I'm curious what they stole in this scenario. Paxton sued Google in 2022 for allegedly unlawfully tracking and collecting users' private data. The Attorney General said the settlement, which covers allegations in 2 separate lawsuits against the search engine and app giant, dwarfed all past settlements by other states with Google for similar data privacy violations. Now, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, this book, has taught me that Google, this is part of their technological life cycle. So they always do something and they anticipate legal trouble later. So kind of their move is to do something unethical, wash it a little bit, make you okay with it, do it for a while, maximize the value, anticipate you get angry later. They give you a small amount from the large amount that they've made, and then they've already moved on to the next thing. So you're always a step behind them. So the settlement comes 10 months after Paxton obtained a $1.4 billion settlement for Texas from Meta. So they already hit Meta for $1.4 billion. So they're just hitting licks on all the tech companies. So they got Meta, now they got Google. In Texas, big tech is not above the law. Oh, really? Oh, really? May I point you to a man with a 4-letter name, and he sells cars with giant T's on them. His name's Cock. That's Mr. Cock to you. They're just cars with a Texas T on them. I wasn't talking about Teslas. It's a completely different guy. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. But, you know, sometimes I think it's good to represent my actual comedy IQ, which is fucking minus 50. For years, Google secretly tracked people's movements, private searches, and even their voice prints and facial geometry through their products and services. I fought back and I won, said Paxton. This $1.37 billion settlement is a major win for Texans. Texans privacy and tells companies that they will pay for abusing our trust. Dude, they're laughing at you, bro. Bro literally thinks he did something. Well, you know what? In 2025, Google's parent company Alphabet has a market capitalization, also known as net worth, of $2 trillion. So they're laughing at you, bro. So cool that this lawyer will walk away with $500 million and everyone else will get a $50 check. Hey, Texans, here's a free drink. That's from us. For slapping Google on its little ass for going, hey, stop watching everybody. You knock it off, big bad Google. It is really funny to me just how much bad shit Google has done. And this doesn't even do anything. And I don't mean to be the nothing ever happens guy. I just do think it is comical how this has no effect on the company. They're already working on a fucking, what is it, a quantum chip that'll just decrypt everything. Yeah, they're just going to destroy it all from the inside. It's awesome. You know what would be really great is if the tech companies compete so hard that they end up eating each other up, and then we just return to a zero technology world where one can be naked in the forest, just like God intended it. So yeah, I was saying earlier, this is a thing that I think we can all see coming. We just don't know where it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And I said it changes the way our, I think it puts into question how people will interact with each other. I saw a thread on Twitter that worded it pretty well, where they're saying how Google search was interesting because people kind of used this vague, nondescript website to retrieve answers and information about the world. Now, all of that is kind of built in private spaces by way of like ChatGPT, Discords, stuff like that, where it's like these closed off situations where people are getting information. And watching from last year, when I would have to explain ChatGPT to friends and family and explain the rate at which it was growing and explaining its proficiencies, to a year later, friends going, oh, I just got onto Claude, which is like a ChatGPT type product, and I use it for everything. I have it figure out my diets. I have it figure out and they use it like personal assistants. And you have people learning how to program AI assistants, people just picking it up and coding them out and creating AIs that, read their inbox for, I guess, email and, hitting back in automated ways and essentially creating a second version of themselves in a way. And I think what's interesting is before, and by before I mean for the last 25 years, call it 23. Tech companies were just creating snapshots of all of us in a very unethical and egregious way, mining all the data that was passing through our devices. I think in a few episodes ago, I quoted The Age of Surveillance Capitalism because it talks specifically about how Verizon was just illegally farming people's phones, and they got in trouble for that. And things that Google was doing, 5 and 10 years ago, they're finally getting in trouble for now. And I'll probably have to cover that next episode, but there's been updates in the Google case about them being split up, you know? Hey guys, we want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, DraftKings. Spring is in full bloom on DraftKings Casino. New offers and promos are sprouting up daily. Right now, new players can pay $5 on anything and get 350 casino spins instantly. And that's on a featured slot game. Download the app and sign up with code COMPANY. You can take the featured slot for a spin and explore thousands of others in the DraftKings game library. Check back daily to claim the hottest offers and promos on DraftKings Casino, where the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus. Physically present in Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Connecticut and Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins valid for featured game only and expire in 168 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends June 15th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey everyone, we want to take another break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Shopify. Starting a business can be very challenging. You got to wear a lot of hats. There's a lot to keep track of. You know, starting a business is something that I've tried to do many times, many starts before getting successful. And part of that is figuring out who you are, you know, because you're starting something new. And when you start something new, not only are you figuring the business out, but you're also figuring out how the business runs, you know? And in that process, you need to find the right tool for you. And Shopify is a very well-established and accomplished commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. is done through Shopify, and that includes household names like Mattel and Gymshark, all the way to brands that are just getting started. Now, when you start a business, you might have some questions like, what if you can't design a website? Well, Shopify, they can help you with that because they have beautiful, ready-to-go templates that can probably match your brand style. What if you need some extra help? You can get that with Shopify with everyday tasks like enhancing product images, writing product descriptions, or generating discount codes with Shopify's AI tools created for commerce. What if people haven't heard about your brand? That's a question you might be thinking. Well, Shopify helps you find customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. And of course, you know, if you're running a business, you might think, well, what if you get stuck? Well, Shopify is always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. You can turn your big business idea into a profit with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/companylot. Go to shopify.com/companylot, shopify.com/companylot. But what I guess where I was going with this is AI now is so quickly being embedded in our society where it's a personal assistant. It can take over a job. People kind of are glib and they try to be funny about it where they say, who cares? Or it's a stupid product. Or if you want to use it, knock yourself out. You know, people are either apathetic towards it because maybe that's like a way of kind of looking the other way on it. And it feels better to not think about the tenacity that this thing has. And I say all this for a couple of reasons. I think one, if you're a younger person listening to this, start to plan for your future, you know, start to think about how this will impact your life. I guess this is not the same thing, but for me, when I was going to college, in my fourth year of college, I've briefly mentioned here and there that I just stopped going. And it's because I had a personal like epiphany / freak out where I realized, you know, I went to college because I was told to, and I didn't really know the value of it. And then I had spent all this time studying this degree, and then I realized, oh my God, once I finish this, I'm just still working at Best Buy. And I've taken this, you know, all these classes to study a degree where you run a business. You run a corporation. That's what I was learning how to do in my degree. I was learning about corporate law, what it means to be like a chief exec of something, how you manage large organizations. And I'm like, and then what? I climbed the ladder to become the CEO of Best Buy and I live in Minnesota. God bless you, Minnesota. I will blow my brains out if that's my future. Can't live there, too damn cold. Great in the summer though. So what I ended up doing was I went on this deep personal journey, and that led me to writing code. And I guess in my mind, I kind of put two and two together, and I was like, this coding has become accessible, and this may be the last opportunity for me to get attached to it. And thank God I did, because it changed my life, and I taught myself basic web code, and then like JavaScript and PHP, and then that carried me to other things. And then I kind of hit a fork in the road where I either had to learn more languages, more complex languages, and take the leap to become like a competent software engineer. And thank God I learned how to lean into what I think I'm better at, which is making media. And so I guess I pause to say, depending on who you are, because I don't think AI is necessarily a field you want to get into as like a job. But I guess I just say, don't discredit the tenacity of this thing. And think about how it could potentially impact you and what you can do now, because I still think there's a chance to protect your future in a way. I don't know how that shakes out, but I wanted to be positive for a moment. Anyway, I'm kind of fascinated by all this, and I don't know if I talked about this last episode, and I'll talk about it in a second before I go through this list of robots that are going to replace us. There's a jerk-off robot, and that's so cool. I don't have to hang out with my friends anymore. No, I've been bringing up the age of surveillance capitalism so much this episode because, after you have a kid, you don't get to read as often, but I'm getting to dive back in. And there's this 10-page segment that has really just blown my mind. I've kind of yapped about it a little bit incessantly to friends, but I think it's just so fascinating, and it's very related to everything we've talked about so far. People being angry about AI taking jobs, Duolingo making this move, and AI becoming like part of society. I start this by laughing, right, at people being reactive to AI and being pissed off about it, as if it wasn't going to happen already, right? And maybe that's a bit of a smug position. I apologize for that. But in the age of surveillance capitalism, Shoshana writes about, because that's my bro, Shoshana. She basically points out that in like 2016 or 2017, there comes a point where we as people, she essentially, if I did say this already, I'll just say it faster. She points out that there was a great period in American society called a great moment, the division of labor. And it's a great moment in the sense of not necessarily positive, but it changed society. And it created specialization. And so the division of labor created a strata of people where if you were specialized in certain things, you were privileged in certain ways in terms of like maybe what you knew or what you were able to do. And within a corporation, once you became specialized, maybe your skills elevated you within the organization because your skills warrant you to know more. And maybe it's in the corporation's interest, if you are not specialized in certain tasks, that you know less. So she talks about how in 2016, I believe, Google spent that year, they spent $650 million on their AI program. And this was like a wide range of things, hiring people to spending on technology. And this ties back to some episodes ago where I briefly probably mentioned that Google purchased a nuclear reactor because that is likely the type of power source they need to run whatever they're working on next. So she then goes on to point out that in this period of time, specifically British educators were commenting that there was going to be a missing generation of data scientists specifically. And that is because the financial incentive to go into literally working for Google is much greater than staying in education. So great minds that would have been very good at data science or real science, or potentially a mind that could solve cancer or, something related to hunger or biology, would be vacuumed up in that year by artificial intelligence because, money. And Shoshana is basically kind of pointing out that from that point and earlier, because AI has been, that's been something Google has been working towards for a while. You have to now realize that the people who have been working in artificial intelligence for almost what is now 10 years, if you're even starting from 2016, but probably further than that, they likely had the foresight that all this would happen and then some. I think most recently and most famously, the guy who's kind of credited for maybe putting AI into like out in the world as a corporate tool, he says the same shit that AI or that Duolingo says, where he goes, I feel bad doing it, but someone was going to do it, so I may as well have done it and gotten filthy fucking rich. I'm paraphrasing what he said. So Shoshana points out that now there is definitively, or in 2018 when she writes this, but since then, there's definitively a division of knowledge where you have to assume that all the people who worked in the AI field know where we are going and have known and have been able to see it and have said nothing. It's probably a small percentage of people in that bracket, and they've completely, in ways, probably pulled the ladder up. And maybe they told a couple friends, but they weren't out there really alarming anyone. And maybe they tried, and maybe they got Boeinged. Maybe I'm speaking a bit premature in that respect. But I just think now that we're at the point where people are canceling the Duolingo bird, it's too late. This shit is coming, as early as the first 3 months of this year. I think I was talking about how AI has shown competence as far as like math tests and how it outperforms most college students. And clearly the conversation has evolved in like 90 days. Now you've got college students not thinking at all. They do everything with AI. And even there's this startup where this guy's whole ethos is everyone should be able to cheat on everything. Because the systems and structures we have in place are kind of useless and arbitrary anyway. And if I'm correct, his big dream is that you would have a brain chip in your head that is guiding you and optimizing social interactions. And so I guess it's a fun time, guys, because this may be the last 50 years of real humanity, when we get to be unapologetically fucking stupid. Because once you get the AI brain chip in your head, you won't have, you'll be working for our big robot president, making us a galactic superpower, and you won't have the choice to go to the gas station and go, let me get that sketchy K2 liquid cart. You know what? I'm going to show up late to work tomorrow because I'm going to drink 40 beers. I'm going to fuck my family up. I'm just going to get a DUI tonight. You won't get to make choices like that. It's going to be robots that don't let you have any fun. Basically, all the nerds are going to take over and make us live their childhood. violin lessons, maximum knowledge, no fun, no having sex, no going to bars, no more playing pool. Play as much billiards as you can now, because that's the first thing going in this nerd takeover. No cool guy stuff. Cigars and pool is going to be banned. You can only play pool in your virtual headset. No, it is a really weird time. That's not a genius thing to say. But I guess for me personally, this all kind of lines up. And it is very interesting for me. If you haven't, I've had some people walk up to me at shows and they're like, I bought The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. It's a dense book, but I think give it a chance if you haven't, because reading what was written 7 years ago and comparing it to now and seeing how some of that stuff has come to fruition and how some of that stuff is even crazier than predicted, it is fascinating. If I could use a big word, it is fascinating. All that to say, everyone, let's go. Because how dare they go back to HBO Max? That is a joke. I am joking. I am not inciting a riot. Maybe we have to bleep that whole sentence. I like that HBO is trying to be ironic about it. And I like that brands have to act like people. HBO has to say sorry for going back to HBO Max. So crazy. I guess we're at the end here, and you know how it goes. If you're at the end, you're special to me. You've listened all the way. This is where we get real and vulnerable and serious. I'll be in Denver, Colorado doing stand-up on Saturday. I guess egg prices are down, so that's good. We got eggs 12% off. Eggs won't be part of your Claude diet anyway, so nothing to worry about there. The HBO rebrand is fun to me, because I guess I was surprised how offensive that could be, because I guess it's all the same content. But people like what they like, and maybe I don't really have a dog in the fight anymore, because now that I have a child, I don't get to watch as much media as I used to. I wish that wasn't the case. I'm working back to it. I think if I can just convince my wife to let us staple an iPad to his eyes, I'll get to watch as much TV as possible. It's so funny talking to modern parents and hearing all their different approaches to the screen time stuff. I got some friends, they're blessed. They have very smart children. They can let them use devices uninhibited, and their children are killing it in school. Their children are bored in school because they're so smart. And they don't really have to manage them like that. And then we got other friends who are like, if I take my child's iPad away, they are legitimately like an addict, and they will throw poop on the walls. They'll poop in their hands and draw expletives, that's curse words, and slurs on the walls if they do not get their iPad back. And I just put that out there, to the Kardashians. If you're doing some of those mobile game ads, I just want to let you know you're contributing to. I'm just reading here that the HBO CEO makes $52 million a year. That's crazy. If I made $52 million in a year, I would blow up so many cars. I think that's all I'd do. I'd just buy a big ranch and I would just do demolition derby. And it'd be free. I'd invite everyone out. You could pull up. We're just going to be blowing up cars. I'd just be a giant man baby. Giant 12-year-old. I know when I walk around, I kind of look like a giant man baby. But I'd be financially, I'd be a man baby. I always get uncomfortable with these episodes where I get all serious and trying to sound smart, and don't take it too much to heart. I'm just sharing with you, I guess, what's at the top of my mind, because I love being in my house freaking out. Some people, anxiety is a side effect of their antidepressants. Anxiety is something I seek. I like to wake up every day and open my phone and be like, ooh, what can I be scared about? That's my favorite thing to do. I like to drink 4 shots of espresso, give myself maximum anxiety. So by the end of the day, I think everyone hates me. The world is crumbling. And it gives me all the emotional ammo I need to look at my family and go, I got to go to the dive bar. I can't talk to you guys. And then I go play 6 hours of pool. And then I say all these same things to strangers. I don't even get down to shoot on the cue ball. I'm just like, AI is coming for everything, man. We got to enjoy what we got before we go. I'm just like the diet. Oh, JK, we definitely can't have that. We can leave it and we can mute it. You can get that full joke at teamgstudios.tv. That's where you can get it. Guys, as always, I love and appreciate all of you that listen to the Yap. Thanks for tuning in. We shall be back in 2 weeks. The show's every 2 weeks if you don't know that already. But I'll be back with another video very soon. So for now, don't worry. Let's summarize this. Don't worry about AI taking over, man, because it's going to happen. I think worry about what makes you happy. And you can always get away from AI on a hike, outside. Enjoy parks while we have them still. I make this sound like a sayonara to the better of society, but it really ain't, man. Because, the human spirit finds a way, and we'll find a way. And if we have to go Terminator plot and we got to go blow up Skynet, then that's just that's inciting a riot again. The human spirit will find a way, whatever that way is. For now, I think it's gas station carts and, a little bit of TikTok browsing. All right. Don't jerk off after this. See you soon. Goodbye.